Yo, welcome to the Gig Life Podcast. I'm your host, Stevie Taylor. My guest today is Dario Bortolin. Dario has been on my original interview list since I started this podcast back in 2018, so this one has been a very long time coming. Currently playing with the Baby Animals, Dario has played with Jimmy Barnes, Billy Thorpe, Dragon, INXS, Rose Tattoo, The Angels, Kevin Borich, Barry Leef, and many, many more. Great player, great stories, wicked hang. Enjoy. This is episode 173. Dario Bortolin. Here we go. All right, I think we're rolling. Dario Bortolin, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, long time coming, eh?
It has been, yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started this podcast back in 2018, I had a note that I'd filled out in my iPhone of 10 people, started with 10 people that I wanted to talk to in this podcast, and you're on that list.
All right.
Yeah, so that's why I've been so persistent over the years, and here we are.
I feel privileged now.
Here we are 8 years later, far out. 8 years. Shit.
It's been 8 years.
Yeah, nearly,
okay.
yeah. That's why I've been persistent, and
I'm glad you did.
man, we're hanging in your studio. It's awesome. Guitars hanging on the wall, and it's great.
It's my happy place, really.
Yeah.
It's where
How long have you guys been living out this way?
we bought this house in 1999. So at the end of 1999, we moved in 2000.
Yep.
So we had the New Year's at the old house and then came in.
So where was the old house?
The old house was it was actually in Villawood,
yep.
But it was right on the border of Bass Hill.
Yeah. I worked in Villawood for many years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the street now. It was right. We were in a building right next to a Wreckers.
Okay. So we were on Miller Road was kind of the border of Bass Hill. We were just off Miller Road. I have a funny story coming back from, because it's Bass Hill, right?
Right.
And if you drive along the Hume Highway, I was coming back from a tour with Dragon, and I think Michael Bartholomew was Michael Bart was the keyboards player, and he was driving, and there was a sign just before Miller Road, and it had it was Bass Hill. And I said, you turn left just here. And he goes, right, Base Hill.
Yeah,
of course, you live in Base Hill, right? That's that story.
Yeah.
So, right on the border. So, we sold that and moved in here in 2000. So,
yeah, nice. And you've got this custom-built studio out right at the back of your property here.
Did you say custom-built?
Oh, okay. Was it the idea to build a studio or to build a space?
Just a space.
Yeah.
It's turned, I had an idea to build something so that I could put all the guitars in, do all my work, keep it separate, and then record. I always loved recording, had a bit of a thing, interest in that, and just keeping it separate to the family inside the house. And it's a hang place really for other musicians and myself. You know?
And before we hit record, you were telling me about all the guitars on the wall and.
Yeah, there's a few. Most of the guitars on the wall are the not so expensive ones.
Right. And the expensive ones are locked up.
They're locked up.
Yep.
But
in another facility, right?
So I don't know. Isn't it a weird thing that you have them sort of set up and so I can look at them, I guess, and I don't know. I can grab one.
I didn't see that before. It's a little Fender. See another cool thing about this little mic thing?
Yeah,
I'm standing up there moving around.
Yeah.
So I might as well tell the people that. So we're trialling a new recording system today. Hopefully gone are the days of microphones and headphones and microphones on stands. And so I'm trying this new Rode wireless system today. So I just was able to then stand up and walk over and look at this.
You can roam around.
You can roam around, yeah. But
well, that's a ukulele,
right?
And that's a mandolin next to it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Which it's just there to use if you need it. Which is handy.
You hear that sound, you pull it up. Do you play keys as well? Oh, right, okay.
Not really.
Right.
Not really. I
can play chords and
just tinkle
triads.
a bit. Yeah, if that. Yeah. My daughter plays piano pretty well.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I kind of, the older I got, if I couldn't get a handle on the thing quickly, it used to kind of frustrate me, I guess. So
I know that feeling because I originally started on piano. That was my first instrument, but I didn't do it for very long because I discovered drums. And now it was 2021, I think it was, when we just kind of started opening up from COVID. I went and started getting lessons from Tim Brewer. Do you know who Tim Brewer is? He's a jazz piano player in Sydney. And I probably did that for 3 or 4 months, but, you know, it was quite intense, and the stuff that he gave me, I don't have that study mindset.
Right.
So I would start doing the stuff and then start just going, getting. Next thing you know, I'm on my drums, I'm playing the guitar. It's like, I don't have the focus.
Right. Well, it's kind of the same for me, I think.
Right.
It's just, I mean, if I'm here recording and I need some pads or a piano piece that I can go over and work out, well, that's all right. But I wouldn't be able to play in a piano, play something. I was like, no, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, gotcha. What about guitar? Can you?
Yeah, I can play guitar.
Yeah. Okay.
My brother's a guitar player.
Yeah.
So he's 3 years older than I am, 3.5 years older. So when we first started playing, he was always going to be a guitar player. My dad had a guitar in the house from when I can remember, you know. And it was always like, when you guys are old enough, we'll get lessons and you can learn. And I always wanted to be a drummer. I remember being at a wedding reception, one of those Italian ones, like I must have been 6 or 7 or something, and I was infatuated with the drummer. And the drummer actually, after they finished playing, actually gave me a pair of sticks and showed me how to do these paradiddles I didn't really understand. But looking back now, and I was like, well, I had those sticks for years.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a drummer. And when it came time my dad said, when you guys get older, we'll give you lessons. I'll get someone in. And when it came to that point, he said, oh, no, you're not playing drums. Like, he wasn't stupid, you know, like he knew, like, I'm not having a drummer in the house. He said, you can, and I said, well, my brother's playing guitar. Like, he's going to play guitar. And he said, well, you can play bass guitar. I was 10 at the time, and I was like, I didn't even really know what bass was.
Right.
So that's how I got into bass. But because my brother was 3 years older than me, and playing guitar, there was always a guitar there.
Yep.
And so I loved the guitar. When he used to go out, like, because, you know, he got a Marshall as he got older, and I used to get down to the music room when I was living at home and play the Marshall. He never really liked me doing that. But so I had a bit of a handle. I have a bit of a handle on playing guitar as well.
What do you think drew you to rhythm, though, as opposed to, well, I mean, so your guitar playing, you more rhythm, or did you try and play
No, I get in there and
crank it out.
Give it a lead thing too.
Cool.
Yeah, and we had one of our first bands. We had a piano player, bass player, and I was a bass player, and I played guitar in the set when the keyboard player played bass. So we kind of swapped. So that was a very early band that I was playing with my brother.
Right.
So, but he was the lead guy. Like we do stuff like Boys Are Back in Town, where I'd play the lead thing with him, you know, like the harmony.
Oh, the
that.
Yeah, right. Cool.
So just because we were huge Thin Lizzy fans, so I got into that. But I loved the lead playing as well. Yeah.
Yep.
But bass was my thing because I always felt drawn to that because I had lessons and I was the bass player.
Was there a bass player that you saw that you were kind of drawn to, like maybe Thin Lizzy bass player?
Oh yeah.
Singer?
Well, look,
sorry, his name's
Phil Lynott. Phil Lynnott's my hero. Like, I love the guy. Love the band. Love the guy.
Yep.
But before Phil Lynott, before I became aware of him, I was heavily into like Paul McCartney. You know, my brother got the Wings record, the Band on the Run, and I was just like, we had this 3-in-1 stereo at home at my mum's place.
Looking at the Hofner there behind you.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's a Hofner. Yeah. He got the Wings album, Band on the Run, and I was just, my parents had a 3-in-1 Astor, you know those Astor, there's a TV, there's a radio, and there's
Oh,
a record player, those things.
Yep.
And when I used to play that album to death, and that's how I got really into it. So Paul McCartney really the first one, and I love the Beatles as well. But then, you know, Phil in it was a huge influence, yeah, for sure. And I went to the Thin Lizzy concert there in '79, was it, at the Opera House? Yeah, I was there, with my brother.
Awesome.
And a couple of mates. It was fantastic, yeah.
That's great. So on your Instagram, at the top of your Instagram, you've got Northern Italian living in Oz. So
is that right?
Where in? Well, it sounds like you didn't write it then.
No, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So where in Northern Italy are you from?
My parents come from a place. Well, my mum comes from a place called Prata, which is a little town in northern Italy, and my dad came from a town like 5 kilometres from there, which was called Tamay. But the whole province is called Pordenone, so it's about 60 kilometres northeast of Venice. So you fly into Venice, and then it's about 60 kilometres northeast towards, you know, the Croatian side.
Oh, right, okay. Because we were in Italy last year. We went to, when I saw that Northern Italy, I of course Googled Northern Italy, and Verona's there.
Right.
We spent 4 days in Verona and then 4 days in Venice. So yeah, I was curious as to what
Was that last year?
Last year.
Okay. I was in Venice the year before last.
Oh, right. Have you been there much before?
All my relatives are in Italy. Absolutely,
Everybody,
all of them, and
right.
some of my cousins are in Venezuela.
Right.
But other than that, they're all there. So my parents came out on their own. So so the first time I went there was in '71. I think I was young, and then the second time I went there was when I was in 2003, when I just finished playing with INXS in England, and I went there to the airport. My daughter was 2 years old, and we went to Venice Airport, and with my wife, we came out, and there was about 40 of them, you know, my relatives. It was incredible. Like my mum's side of the family,
like a homecoming or something.
It was full on. It was so beautiful. Like my mum's side of the family are very close. So there was cousins, uncles, aunties. They were all there. It was quite overwhelming. It was just beautiful. I'll never forget it. So I've been back since then, since 2003, probably about half a dozen times.
Right.
Playing there, playing a few times with Jimmy Barnes in Europe. Once with Rose Tattoo, once with Danielle Spencer in England. So maybe more than half a dozen, maybe about 8 times.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah.
What about Verona? Have you spent much time?
I've never been to Verona.
You haven't?
No.
I loved it. That was my favourite part of Italy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we went to Tirano. That's where we came in off the train. And then...
Torino?
Tirano. So
Tirano.
it's the bottom of the mountains.
Okay.
Yeah. We came off the Bernina Express, the Alps train, and that's where it kind of comes down through the viaducts. And yeah,
it's beautiful up there, isn't it? Up in the
awesome.
mountains.
Loved it.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah, Verona that's awesome, that place.
Yeah, I haven't been there, no.
Yeah. So, March 2026, what's a week in the life of Dario at the moment? You're currently on tour with Baby Animals?
I'm on, yeah. We started a tour a few weeks, about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We've had a few weeks off. So we start this weekend. We go to Queensland, the Gold Coast, then Queensland. On Saturday night, I played with the Angels. I've been playing with the Angels a little bit. Okay. Because Sam Brewster, John's son, has been playing bass for the last 10 years or whatever. Right. Don't know how long, but he's just taking a year off to be with his family, I think. He's had a couple of young children, so he's just taken a year off to be with the family. So I'm filling in for them. John and Rick Brewster are just fantastic, right? Because I've known John for many years, right? Like since the Bombers days, really. Yep. With Alan Lancaster, that's how I met John back then. So just doing the Baby Animals. We start again this weekend. Yep. And we've been recording, and and writing some stuff. So hopefully there'll be a new album out soon.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and then just, yeah, I mean, there's a few other things on the horizon, a few festivals like the Birdsville Monday.
Yep. And then you've also got your sort of your regular local gigs too, Rockin' Birds and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the Rocking Birds is a bit more of our thing. You know, we've been doing that for a few years. It just came about because we were in the cover scene, just hired guns. And after 20 years of doing that, we figured we may as well do our own thing. So with Chris and Fab, really, they're the main guys. And then we use Melinda and Dave Wilkins and various other people, Susanna Morana.
Right, well, let's roll it right back. We already have touched a little bit on how you started sort of playing music, but I want to go back a little bit further than that. So going back to the Italy thing, were you born?
I was born here.
You're born here.
Yeah,
okay.
I was born here.
So, do you have any other brothers or sisters besides your brother that plays guitar?
I have my brother who plays guitar and who's older than me. I have a younger sister who lives in the UK. So she lives north of London, which is so handy because
somewhere to stay.
Well, yeah, every 2 or 3 years we'll go for a bit of a trip over to Europe because I love Europe. It's fantastic. Everything's so close.
Yeah, right.
And we just go to London, stay with her and her husband Chris,
that's your base.
That's our home base.
Yeah,
and then
awesome.
we spend a lot of time with them. And often, like when we went to Venice 2 years ago, they came to Italy. Yep. Me and my wife went to Berlin after that, and then we went to Tropea, which is southern Italy, for a trip. So yeah, younger sister.
Right. Does she play anything?
No.
Okay.
She doesn't.
Right. So what about mum and dad? Mum and dad play anything?
My dad was actually a singer, but when he came out here, I remember he used to sing at the church because we lived in Leichhardt. So they had a choir thing, and he was the head of the good, like he was the main guy singing in the choir. And, you know, he was always singing. He used to love singing. And when we used to get together with families, Italian families, because we had some close friends, and we used to have barbecues and stuff, that often after dinner, they'd just sit around the table and sing. They'd all sing these Italian songs. It was awesome. So we just listened and, you know, so I knew all the songs. But, and then after he passed away, one of his best mates came over for dinner one night, and I was playing with, I think I was playing with Gina Jeffries or something, and he said, "How's it going with you playing?" And I said, "Yeah, it's great." And he goes, "What about your dad, you know, back in the day when he used to, back in Italy?" And I was like, "What are you talking about, you know?"
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he started saying, "Oh, you know, your dad, he used to sing in front of a, like, 6-piece, you know, piano accordion guy and some string players, I think." And he actually was saying that they used to go to town to perform. And he never ever said anything about that to us. But then I saw my mum she got a bit funny about it. So I was like, oh, you know, I don't know what was going on there, but I don't think she was very happy that he was away. And so anyway, and he never really told us about it, but he was into music. He loved it. There was always music playing in the house. You know, he used to listen to Latin American stuff, and like he liked the Beatles, and he used to listen to a bit of country music, a bit of Johnny Cash stuff, and yeah. So there was always music playing, which was great.
Do you think that sort of Latin stuff and that sort of style of music is incorporated into what you play or how you think about music, or is that kind of?
I don't know. I mean, I always
like a DNA.
I always appreciated that kind of music.
Yep.
I mean, you know, when I hear it, it sort of takes me back to that time. You know, he was right into it. He loved it, and so I guess it did affect me in a way. You know, like I suppose, yeah, I loved listening to some of that old stuff, and then I ended up playing in bands that had piano accordion players, and we played some of those old traditional Italian songs. You know, and I knew a lot of them because Dad used to listen to them. So
yeah, piano accordion. That was my dad's first instrument.
Was it?
Because my dad was a keyboard player and a singer. But he was, as a keyboard player, he's very right hand dominant.
Because there's only the one on that side, right?
Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah. So I didn't sort of think about that till much sort of later on, because I played in bands with them when I was younger, and
in
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what sort of songs did you like?
It was covers, cabaret,
Okay.
60s, 70s,
Right.
early 80s.
So he just adapt that piano accordion sound to the songs, right?
No, just the like he wasn't. He
would play.
He played normal piano.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But just his style was a little bit sort of different, and he'd cross over.
Right.
Yeah. It was interesting. Now I forgot to mention the first time I ever saw you play. First time I ever, saw you ever. It was. I was thinking about this morning. It would have been around 2004, 2005, maybe 2006. We went to it was like a Beatles tribute sort of concert at Cathy Freeman Park, the Overflow in Homebush.
Was it a Beatles thing?
I think it was a Beatles thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't think they do that sort of thing anymore. And they used to have movies there in the Overflow, and you take your own little mini chairs, and there was you could buy drinks, bring your family, and it was a free concert. I don't think it's free to get in there anymore.
Right, is that right?
They've ticketed it just for people to come watch movies. But anyway, I remember you walking out and setting up your gear. But then when you guys started playing, what drew me to you was the fact that you not once did you look at your guitar.
Right.
And I thought, that was, for me, that was I'd never seen that before. You always see someone looking down at and I was looking for it.
Right.
I got to a stage, I was watching you play going, he's going to look at his guitar. And you didn't. You've just got this thing where you don't need to look at your bass guitar. And that really left a mark. And then even now when I see videos of you with Baby Animals or Rockin' Birds, or, if there's a video, you're at the boat shed or whatever, you're not looking at your guitar.
Right. Well, I've never really had anyone say that to me. Like,
right.
I haven't really noticed. Really, I just, I guess been playing for many years.
Yeah, that's it. It's just
and I guess
I've just said profound twice in 2 minutes. I don't think I've ever done that before. I'll probably say it again now. But no, it just shows your confidence in the instrument.
Yeah,
and I hadn't seen that before, and I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've seen
now. Now, whenever I play, I'll try not to look at my instrument now. Probably making clams everywhere.
Oh shit! Yeah, because everyone's going to be looking. Yeah.
I don't know.
He's losing it. He just looked down.
I guess it depends on what you're playing. Like if I'm sort of holding something down and just you kind of know where it is. It's over there, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure it would probably be different if you're recording or like you said, learning something. You're having a look. But this was in that sort of live context.
I do remember those concerts that we did there. They were quite huge. We did another one there that was I think we did a Stones or a Pink Floyd or something.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Mm. They were big shows. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to pack that whole sort of Cathy Freeman Park where the
where the fountain things.
the Olympic
that's right.
Flame thing was it's like a big water feature thing there. Now.
Right. Yeah, so
that's there, and then the stage was sort of off to the right
that's
of that.
Right.
Yeah. So since that's how of course I got home and tried to find out who that bass player was.
Right.
Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah. 20 years later.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
22 years later.
Yeah. Wow. Shit.
Far out.
Because I do remember it was before we had kids, and my oldest daughter, she's 16. So
right.
Yeah, it was a fair bit before that.
It's like nowadays you go, what happened,
Yeah.
What happened with all those years?
Oh, I know.
Far out.
I know, man.
And the older we get, the quicker it goes.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about your brother playing guitar and you playing bass, the Thin Lizzy obsession, I suppose you could call it, or just he was a hero type sort of.
Pretty much an obsession, I reckon.
Yeah,
I'd say.
So, do you remember your first band, and what kind of environment was that?
Yeah, I always played with my brother, because he would play guitar, I played bass, so we played together all the time. He was I do remember my first gig, and I spoke to my brother about it just to make sure that I got remembered correctly because it wasn't such a long time ago. He was in a band, and something happened to a bass player, and they had a gig, and I was like 14, and somehow I was saying to him, I did this gig with him, and they had sort of escort me at the back. I think it was at Bankstown Town Hall or Punch Bowl Town Hall or something, and that was my first kind of real gig with it was a covers band. With the band, but I did a few others. I went to De La Salle at Bankstown and played at the school. They had a school fete thing, which was in the hall, and I don't even remember what year that was. And then we played at Bass Hill High School end of year thing that they had there, and that was I must have been 15. So I do remember those early ones. Yeah.
Was there a school band per se? Like
there was a school band. Yeah, I was playing with a few of my mates at school. My brother he was at the same school, although he was older. So he was always there if like playing or rehearsing, or we didn't really gig that much, but we used to play at school maybe. He used to come and play. But yeah, there was a little bit of that because at the time there was a lot of guitar players. Everybody wanted to play guitar.
Right.
I was playing bass, but I played guitar as well at school. I was, everyone had an acoustic guitar, so I used to noodle around with that. But so, yeah, I did have a school band, and we did a few shows here and there. That kind of continued on.
Yeah.
But
why do you think everyone was wanting to play guitar? So what sort of era was that? What
70s.
Year?
It was the 70s.
Okay.
So, yeah, there seemed to be this. And drums too. There was a few drummers, with the sticks and the drum pads and stuff. So, there wasn't that many bass players. I think that I only think there was one other guy that played bass in my year, and everyone else was guitar. But I'd see a lot of my mates, a lot of the guys I went to school with, 3 or 4 years later, and they'd all say, "I wish I'd, looking at you," like because I just carried on. I don't know. I loved it. So they were all like, "I wish I'd carried on, like you have, blah, 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 Like, so it was just a fad. Like people were going through that. They just play, and then most of them just dropped off, really.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there was a whole thing that bands playing, and I used to listen outside pubs because I couldn't go in pubs. You could hear bands playing on a Sunday afternoon, there was a whole thing, like, so that was really healthy, like for us young people, Yeah. I mean, look, I've been able to make a career out of it, really.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. And it was just the time, I guess. It was just timing where people got into the music and performed live, and people went and saw it,
Yeah. But also you chose to stay with it. So in my sort of, I could have done that too, but I got put into a sort of a crossroads by my dad and my mum. They said to me and my brothers that, whatever you want to do, got to get a trade first,
right?
Because you can always fall back on the trade, And I think if I'd sort of was able to, I may have continued with music. I've always still played, but I've never been in a situation where I go, okay, well now I want to become a professional musician, because you get your trade and it was exactly the same for me being Italian. My mum particularly was. I mean, they had wedding receptions and stuff, and she used to always say, "Just do your job and play at the wedding reception on a Friday and Saturday night." Yep, and
that's what you do. You should really do that and concentrate on a career.
Yeah.
Not that I did an apprenticeship or anything like that. I worked at Walton's from school, like from year 9 till 10.
Where's
Walton's?
What's that?
That was like a retail, like a David Jones, Grace Brothers kind of retail store. Right. So I worked after school, and then after I did my HSC, they offered me a job, management kind of course thing, which I did. And I was in a covers band.
Right.
And the band ended up to like just playing, going away for a week or two, and I think I did the first week we went away after about a year that we were playing in Sydney. And then they went away again, and I said, I can't because I can't get the time off work.
Yeah, right.
And so they left. They got another bass player. And when they came back, the singer rang me up and said, "We want you back."
Yeah.
So I remember going up to the office in this retail store, speaking to the manager and resigning there and then, just on the spot.
I was going to say, did you have to give notice?
Yeah, I said I'm going to finish up. I don't know whether I did. Yeah, maybe a week or two. I don't know.
Okay.
But I just thought, that's it. I'm going to do it. Because they were away. While they were away, I was like working, thinking, that's what I want to do,
Mm.
And I went home and I told my parents and they were in shock. They were a little bit freaked out. And I just thought, that's what I'm doing. And look, I did that for a year and toured around Australia. I was away for like 3 months playing, playing all over the country. It was fantastic. But then I came back and joined an original band and had to work, and for years just worked doing a job and playing music, original stuff at night, like on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, really.
With the goal always being to...
I got into original bands. I loved the original thing. That was always my passion, to sort of be in a band, have a thing, and because I guess that was, the covers band wasn't that big back then, I suppose. So that was always what I wanted to do. And so I ended up getting in a band called Destraza, probably in 85, 86, I think.
This was the original band, was it?
This is an original band. I was in another band before that with a really dear friend of mine called John Jerkovic, who was him and his wife Jenny. They were in a band called the QVs. Do you remember the QVs? No, that was before. Anyway, they'd started their own band. I was with them, and then went with Destraza and various other bands after that. But I always wanted to be in an original band. That was my thing,
Right.
And the recording and just in the whole process of writing songs.
What was the style of music of
It was
Destraza?
all rock. It was all rock. Yeah.
Okay.
Had Di Pritchard in it.
Yeah, right.
He was the guitar player.
Right.
Stephanie Howell was the singer. Chester Howell was drummer. So, it was rock. I was always into the rock thing. Yeah. Really the bands that really influenced me a lot was bands like Thin Lizzy, Deep Purple. I love Deep Purple. Black Sabbath. Who else? Van Halen just freaked me out. So I was Led Zeppelin, Gotcha. So I was into that sort of
that thing.
That, and I think that's still what I'm kind of noted for around the place. I think people kind of see me as that sort of a guy.
I think so,
which is fine. I'm happy. I'm happy. I mean, I try and do other stuff. I always have thrown myself into whatever.
Yeah.
Back in when I got my license, I just used to look at the trading post or on the street or whatever they used to advertise. I used to ring them all for bass players. I used to ring them all. Yeah, bass player, I used to go and play with people. It didn't matter what style. I just threw myself into it, you know.
That's cool. One thing I didn't ask earlier is, what about lessons? Are you completely self-taught or did you get lessons?
My brother and myself we were taught for about maybe 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
Home taught. A guy used to come to our house. He was a guitar player.
Yep.
And he played a little bit of bass as well, but he was a guitar player and he taught my brother and myself. So my brother would have the lesson first and I'd have the second lesson.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just reading. So that and honestly, that's helped so much over the years because look, I'm not a fantastic reader, but it's got me through so many situations, being able to read and I write my own stuff now. A lot of the time, as you know, I get hired to do gigs, and as you get older, that you just haven't got time to sit there and learn every song. You have to.
Come up with your own sort of roadmap, your own design of
absolutely. So, and if there's a bass line, I'll notate it in. If it's a specific bass line. So and the reason I can do that is because I was taught at a young age, and so that's still stuck with me. And it's helped me out a lot. So I'd say to young kids, if you can, it's difficult because everybody just wants to play Smoke on the Water back then, or show me how to play Paranoid, you know.
Yeah.
It was hard, but it really has helped.
Yeah.
It's, you know, yeah.
So I'm going to jump forward here. And you're talking about you're known as that sort of the rock pig, so to speak, rock dog, that kind of
Pig.
Yeah, maybe that's that's a saying though, isn't it? A rock pig. But anyway, I'll take that back.
That's right.
Now, a classic example of a complete nightshade of that is you played bass on Barry Leef's rhythmised album with Mick Skelton on drums, Pete Northcote playing guitar, and it was produced by Kerry Buchanan.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, when that album first came out, I fell in love with it, and I ended up I had Barry on the podcast we talked about,
right?
And I dug real deep into that album, and I was just listening to it in the car on the way here today. So you're playing bass on that. If you didn't know it was you playing on bass and someone said, Dario Bortolin's playing bass on that, you'd go, what? The rhythm section on that album is fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Just so subtle, and the little slides that you play, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, look, it was a real honour to be asked to play on Barry's record. I mean, you know, honestly, Kerry is such he's got some real heavyweights on that album, some great musicians. And to be honest, when he called, I was a little bit, am I right for it? You know, and I said to Barry, I said, look, you know, thank you for asking me, but are you sure?
Yeah, right.
And he said, no, I really want you to do it, you know. Like, it was so nice. And Barry's such a wonderful human being. I mean, what a joy to be able to play music with that guy, you know. He's just incredible and fabulous singer and such a giving person, you know. Like, and there's not many people like him that they are out there. He's just so giving in his, you know, in everything he does. So that was the joy, you know, and I kept it pretty simple on that record because, you know, Kerry had charted everything. He's a genius.
Oh, he is.
Really is.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just like, he'll hear something and go, forget about that note. You know, he just hears it, perfect pitch, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And, you know, he gets on the piano and his arrangements. So everything was sent out and it was like, there's the chart, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously there was scope. You be yourself in anything you do, you know. Well, anything I do, I try to express myself as well, put a bit of me in there. And so I did that with that record. But because it really wasn't my, you know, what I was known for, I kept it pretty simple and pretty like Kerry had sort of written it. So, you know, there was a few bits.
It's very tasty, though, in saying keeping it simple. There's some not...
Yeah. Okay, well, really that's nice of you to say that. So, obviously I tried those bits of where I thought, I'll just go for it a bit here.
Yeah.
Whatever. They might want to erase it later on. But so there was a bit of that. And, playing with Mick Skelton was fantastic too, you know.
Because you guys had played a lot with
the Baby Animals and we've done
so
other things as well.
You know each other's...
And I think that was the idea with Barry. He just thought, let's get a rhythm section of God. You know, like the foresight to have to do that was... And it was like, I want you guys because you're a team. And so that's how we did it. And, you know, I'm really proud of that record. Yeah, it's great.
So, there's that nightshade of the rock, I'm not going to say rock pig, rock dog, and then that. Has there been other albums kind of like that you've been asked to play on?
Yeah, I mean, I played on a John Paul Young album early on, but it was... I don't know. I played on some country stuff as well. So I did quite a bit of time or quite a few gigs in the country scene I think it was maybe the early 90s.
Right. You were saying before you'd played with Gina Jeffries.
Yeah. Yeah, when she had her first single, I started playing that. So I really love playing country music. Like I really do because it's fat, you know, like you get to lay it down and it's like it's... Well,
and there is some crossover there between sort of country and rock, isn't there?
There is,
in the way that
there
stuff's
is
put
for
together.
sure. But I have done a few country kind of things over the years, and still do, you know. But
When did it all become professional for you? When did that? Well, I guess was it at that point where you left the job at the Waltons or whatever you called it?
Yeah, Waltons. Yep. Yeah, I don't know, but there was times where I got busy and not so busy, and
then what would you fall back on?
Well, when I gave up work, which was probably in the if I have to think about it, probably in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, maybe late 80s. I think I just thought that's it, and basically because I didn't have to. I was the covers, like I worked with Kevin Borich. That was in the 90s. That when I worked with Kevin, that kind of opened up other doors because I was in original bands up till then and doing the odd covers thing. But when I worked with Kevin Borich, I think that sort of opened up doors for me. You know? And so what I fell back onto was the covers thing. Like if I had a great gig with Dragon or whoever it was, Gina Jeffries touring, if they weren't touring, I'd have the covers thing that I could do. I was playing in Baby Loves the Cha-Cha and a few other cover bands. Just so. And
you played in Baby Loves the Cha-Cha?
I did for a bit.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
But I was never really in the band. I was just like the guy that
could rotate in. Yeah, okay.
That got called if they needed somebody. So, and that kind of built up. I guess I had a bit of a reputation for being able to be just on call. Like if someone needed somebody, I could be there. So that's why I've never really thought about it, but that's probably why I didn't really need to work anymore.
Right.
Like I have a day job. I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I did a little bit of teaching, like maybe a year, but I was never.
What did you think of that?
It's not me.
Not you,
it's not for
right.
me.
Right.
I mean, I like helping people, but if someone paying me for an hour lesson and I'm I don't know, it wasn't me. I just didn't feel right about that. And I think it's like there's other guys that do that know so much more theory-wise than I do. That I just feel like maybe I'm a little bit of an imposter, I can show them what I do or just talk to them. But like to try and educate someone on the instrument and the theory behind it, it's not really my bag,
Yeah. What I taught drums for a little while in a local music school and I hadn't taught before. And it was just by chance that I was there buying something one day and I knew the owner of the store and he said to me, "Oh, will you be interested in teaching?" And I went, and he goes, "You'll get paid this much per lesson." And I went, "Oh,
yeah, I'll teach
cool."
them.
So I went home and bought books and stuff, and because there was no curriculum at the school, you taught them what you wanted to teach them within limits, I suppose. So what I took away from it is that because if you're going to teach someone something, you've got to really know it yourself. So it made me change the way that I practiced and thought about drums and But I did that for a couple of years, but wasn't my thing.
Yeah,
it became really hard work. It was hated going in.
Oh, me too.
Especially when you're giving to these people and say next week come back and blah blah blah, and they come back and they haven't picked up the drumstick.
I got asked to fill in for 4 weeks at a school. Like I won't mention the school.
Yeah,
a friend of mine, and it was you taught 6 kids, and they were year 7 till year 9 or 10 or whatever. And the first week they were all right, but by the second and third week it was just mayhem. They don't listen to you, and I wasn't a qualified teacher. I was just a rock guy coming, know. And it's just you've got to be a special person to be a teacher. I
reckon.
I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah,
it was like they were teaching me,
right
on life, on how to behave, or how not to behave. It was full on because they push you, right? They sort of push you and see how far they can push you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
you show a little bit of weakness and they got you.
That's it.
Yeah, no.
So teaching's not for me.
No, very good. Okay, so you've sort of become this professional musician.
Yeah.
The Kevin Borich thing opened the doors for you. What opportunities sort of came from that?
After the Borich thing, I did play in a few other bands, a few other original bands. And from that, there was one band that was playing, a band called Brainchild that we used to play at Springfields all the time. And from that, we had a few connections where management's kind of approached us, and then we got connected up with Virgil Donati because this manager managed Southern Sons. And so I got connected up and went down to Melbourne. I got exposed to people like Jack Jones and, Phil Buckle to a lesser extent. But I don't know. And just being around town, being seen around town, it sort of opened up other things. And then the country thing, and then Dragon was the biggest thing after that, I think.
Yeah. I just want to, you mentioned Virgil Donati there, so I want to go back and ask you about Spoon.
Right.
I saw a video.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I saw a video of you. So tell us about Spoon.
Well, Spoon was a band that we started playing with Virgil with, which was a connection with Southern Sons manager, a guy called Peter Hoyland, who grabbed us and basically put together a band.
Okay.
And
with what in mind?
Well, because he had success with Southern Sons, I hope I'm not speaking out of school, he was, I can put a band together and sort of get... So he picked me and the guitar player called Angelo Soltutis from Sydney. Basically, this is what happened. And he put us together with a singer in Melbourne called Andrew Grant and Virgil. And he thought, right, let's put these guys together. And we spent a lot of time down there. He'd fly us out down there and put us up. And like it was pretty full on. It was fantastic. It didn't really cost us anything. He spent a lot of money on us.
Right.
And we wrote with Virgil, and we just demoed some stuff at Peter Bowman's studio, Reggie. And he just went to B&G, had the songs and said, right, here's the songs. I'm going to go to B&G and get us a deal, a record deal. We were like, I'll never forget it. He came to the apartment we were staying in Melbourne, me and Ange, and he played us the songs after they were mixed. And he said, I'm going to go to B&G and we'll get a deal. And I was like, so we played the songs. And at the end of it, I thought, what if they don't like the songs, And he was like, he got the shits, He said, what are you talking about, Like that. Musically, it was great. He went there and they wanted to meet us. And so Virgil was obviously, because, he was with Southern Sons. And the record company must have thought, well, what's going on with this band? Is it a band? So they called us in. So me, Ange, and Andrew, we went in there. And the first question that BMG asked us, the guys there, the A&R guy, was, who's your drummer?
Yeah.
And we were like, well, it's Virgil. But, it's like he's in Southern Sons who signed to the same record company. So they were sort of thinking, anyway, we didn't get signed. So that's what happened with that band. And we continued writing. Like Virgil went off and did his thing, because he was teaching and touring Europe and, he's a freak, right? Like, so he was doing that and we got another drummer and we proceeded to go down there, record more, write more stuff. It just never really eventuated, until the band kind of split up. It was forced to split up, which is another story. So, and then, then drag that. So that was the Spoon era. Yeah.
Okay. So did you end up recording much of the material and so has it been sort of shelved?
See, that's the thing. Up? I've got all the masters in here, and I've spoken to some of the guys in the band, and I've thought about, because I've mastered some of it and I've got some of it up. Like I've got that video that you've probably seen.
There's Three Little Pigs.
Yeah.
Yep. Because it sounds awesome. Because I was watching that going, what's some more of this?
That's a demo. Virgil put that together. He put that video together, and I just happened.
Well, that's such a Virgil snare drum sound,
isn't it?
You just get and he's got a spot where he puts his snare drum, right?
Yeah. You being a drummer would appreciate it, right?
Yeah, and you just
Look, one thing that when I first played with Virgil, one thing straight away to me that was really noticeable, like, I'm played with lots of bands, originals, right? So it wasn't any name players. Virgil was probably the first guy that I'd played with who was like a god, like a successful fucking, killer musician. And one thing I noticed when he came in the studio, because it was like, let's get into the studio, he was told to come in with us. The manager said, go in with, I want to see whether you think these guys are good enough to put a band around, which was me and Anne. She was checking us out. And we went to Sound Level Studios. And the first thing I noticed about his drumming was, like, he was really like, he gave you a mix. Basically, like you could put two mics up, really, and the hats would be loud enough. The toms, like everything wasn't like, this is too loud, the hats are too loud. Like he just gave you a beautiful mix of the kit, like just the way he was hitting it.
Self-mix.
Yeah,
self-mixed.
Yeah, it was like, and when we recorded, it was like, he just put two mics, like, you know what I mean? He gave you it was just, his touch is incredible, and I mean, his musical knowledge is and when we were writing stuff, he would, because I'd never experienced writing in that way with well, I don't want to say drummer, but you're a drummer. I won't say anything sort of thing.
You can say what you like. I called you.
No, but you know what I mean. When you're
so.
writing stuff, usually someone's got an instrument, like a melodic instrument. It's not like
right.
But he was behind the kit, and he would say, "Oh no." He was putting the songs together for us in there, and that was another beautiful thing. He had this sort of. He had good ears.
Right.
So, and it was great. It was such a good experience being like doing that with Virgil. And he's more than just a drummer.
Yeah, right.
He is more, he's a musician, yeah. And he was good. Yeah, I love Virgil. It's fantastic.
Cool. Well, if that stuff ever sees the light of day, it'll be awesome. God, yeah.
Yeah. What am I going to do?
Yeah,
I mean, should I put it out? I mean, what?
Why not?
You'll listen to it and I'll listen to it and that's about it.
Well, I mean, okay, how about I'll link that video in the show notes of this.
Yeah, great.
So if you're listening, people, go and click the link and just listen to the Three Little Pigs. And
that's what that was a covers band.
And then call Dario if you want more.
I've got all of the stuff that we've done.
Awesome.
I should put it together.
Yeah, I reckon. So Dragon after that, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that incarnation of
that was classic?
Yep. I've heard a lot of classic Dragon.
Oh my God, where do I start? Well, I auditioned. They were having audition. I was the last guy in the audition. Gordon Rickmeister was playing. Peter Northcote was playing. Alan Mansfield, bless him. He's not with us anymore either. But and Mark. So I was the last guy, and I actually knew Mark and had worked with Mark before that because Kevin Borich did a tour with Mark Hunter. So we would go out and do a Kevin Borich set, and then the second set, Mark Hunter would come out and we'd play some Dragon songs, some covers as well. And we were kind of the backing band for him. And he also had a keyboards player came out and another guitar player. So the band got a little bit bigger when Mark Hunter came out. So I knew Mark. So when it came to the audition, so I went for the audition. I was the last guy.
Mm.
And we're playing a song, and couple of songs, and then Alan goes, "Right, you got the gig." To me, like, and I was like, "Fucking great," like I was wrapped. I got the gig with Dragon,
Yeah.
And he said, "We'll have a break, and then we'll come back." So we went out of the studio, and Gordon Rickmeister bails me up, and I knew Gordon, not well, but I knew we'd hung out a bit, and he said, "I don't want to sort of rain on your parade or anything, but I just want to let you know that Alan said the same thing to the bass player that played before you, that they've got the gig." So I was like, oh, shit. Anyway, we went in and we started playing. Like he said, "Let's play blah, blah." And I only learnt 2 or 3 songs, whatever the songs were, right? And I'm like, whoa. I said, "Alan, I don't know these songs. Like I haven't had a chance to listen to them or learn them or anything." And he goes, famous quote, which we say all the time. He goes, "Don't worry, these songs, they play themselves." That's what he said. So we're running through this set, and I'm like, I don't know. I've never heard, play. I mean, I heard some of them, but some of the ones like, "Don't worry, these songs, they play themselves." That's Alan for you, yeah.
Yeah. So how long did that run go?
That look, I remember playing right up. I remember when Mark came to the gig and he got ill before the gig.
Okay.
And they took him away to hospital and he got diagnosed. So it was right up to it. But
era.
But again, it wasn't like I was doing Dragon. There was, they'd have a break. Then it was like I was like Andy Sachon would fill in sometimes before he went over to America. And a few other bass players did it. And then Mark got sick.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. Yeah.
Right. I think Peter told me that you guys were on Well, he was. I don't know if the rest of you guys were. You're on like while you were playing for Dragon, you're on a retainer. Is that how it worked?
That would have been before.
Oh, okay.
That would have been before me. Like Peter.
Oh, right. So Peter, he was there. He was a fair bit before.
He was there. I'm not sure how long before, but when I was there, Peter only really did 2 or 3 gigs with us when I was there.
Okay, so he's probably come to the end of it.
Okay. He stayed in Sydney because he was doing the session thing.
So you were getting paid per gig type.
Yeah, it wasn't. Right. We didn't get a retainer. It was just per gig. Yeah,
right. Gotcha.
Retainers were. To be honest, I haven't really had that many retainers. I mean, obviously INXS and whatever they were, but not many. So it was just you get hired to play. You get paid.
You get paid. Yeah. Right.
Because I guess that sort of before the Dragon period before that, I guess it was a full-time thing. They worked a lot, and then.
And they wanted to lock
and
the
then
same
if they
guys
wanted to have 2 or 3 weeks off, they can have 2 or 3 weeks off. They need to pay everybody so that when they go back on the road, they're not going to go or run off and do other gigs.
Gotcha.
I suppose.
Right. Okay.
And I guess by that point there was 2 or 3 different bass players that could do the gigs. So it wasn't like, why should we pay? If he can't do it, we'll just get him. It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what it is now too.
Yeah. We're probably jumping forward a little bit, but you mentioned INXS.
Yeah.
So what was that incarnation of INXS?
That was with John Stevens.
Aha, right.
Although I had...
So Gary Beers is not there, obviously.
Well, yeah, Gary Beers wasn't able to do this tour, so I got asked to do it. It was kind of a little bit... It wasn't like, it's 6 months away. It's like, next week, are you free? Okay. I was like, no, well... I was on the road with Billy Thorpe. I really didn't have a rehearsal till we got to New York. First gig was in New York, and I flew there on my own because they were already there.
Right.
But so yeah, that's how that came about. Gary couldn't do it, so I did America, and then we did the UK, and it was the first time they'd been back there since Michael had passed away.
Okay, how was that?
Well,
how was it received?
It was a tour with Blondie. Actually, and it started in Scotland. We flew to Glasgow from Mexico because we ended up doing New York and South America, and then flew to Glasgow. So it was a double bill with Blondie.
Okay,
we went on first. Blondie went on second. I mean, it went well. I mean, it was another world for me.
Yeah, right.
I loved it. It seemed to go. Oh, I've got some great footage of that, which I don't know whether I'll see the light of day. But and John, like he was. I mean, you can't replace Michael, right? But I think that John did he was great. He did a great job, and the band was firing. It was such a joy playing with those guys, like original band. Those guys have been doing it for that long, and just to jump in there with John Farris, like what a beast,
Yeah.
And all the guys, it was good. So that's how that came about. And then I ended up doing some more gigs here in Australia after that. Gary couldn't do some other gigs. So
I want to ask you about how do you lock in with a drummer, right? You play with so many drummers. And, just in this little bit of time now, we've talked about Gordo, John Farris, Virgil.
Far out. There's so many good drummers. Jeez.
Fab. Like so if you're going to play with a drummer for the first time, so INXS, right, and you had never played with John Farris before, is there a conversation with John Farris about how you're going to play, or you just watch him play and you just find your...
Look, this is how I approach it, right? Like this, the drummer sets where things land. And I'm there to support the drummer. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
I'm not leading the drummer. Like particularly if you're playing with guys at that caliber, like they're just, it's like the band sounds the way they do partly because of how they're drumming, right? Because it's the foundation of the thing. So the way I always look at it is I'm there to support the drummer. So wherever he lands it, that's where I'm going to be supporting him, I'm not going to fight him.
Yeah.
This is where it should, that's not my thing.
Of course. Yeah.
And I think that's possibly why I get, like I get called because, it's the drummer that sets where things land. I'm just supporting him. That's all I'm doing,
Right. So...
And I don't analyse it. It's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling, yeah, right. Okay. So, you just sort of answered my question. If you don't analyse it, I was going to ask you, so where is your thing in relation to, where is your sort of...
where I sit?
Where you sit, if it was your gig and it's your song and...
Well, that's a good question.
Do you play on top? Do you play behind?
No, look, what? I'll probably go too far the other way. Look, when I hear stuff, bass players or grooves, look, I suppose it comes from a rock thing. I like to hear things just a little bit back, so I like to put my sweet spot is just a little bit back from the kick. Like if I'm recording and I hear the head of the kick drum, I'll just fucking grab it. And I'll move it either on or behind it, can't, when I say behind, it's not like it feels behind, it feels on, but the feeling I get is I'm letting him hit it and I'll just give it like a pillow effect afterwards, right? So it's like this, it's hitting a pillow and then the bass comes out like that. That's how I kind of approach it.
That's with you saying it like that makes sense of that Barry Leef album,
right?
Because that's how I felt when I was listening to that,
right?
Where you're sitting, you're just slightly, you're not back where it's like a boop, like a bass drum bass note type sort of thing. But you are slightly back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because we were recording with the Baby Animals on last week, and I was watching Ricky Ray's the drummer, and he's kind of producing it, and I did this track, and so he's, going through it, and I can see him shifting things.
Oh, right.
The bass part in places a little bit. So which way we're flying? That way? I don't even know. And he's shifting it a little bit closer to the kick drum, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe I'm hitting it a bit behind, So there is a time to be on it as well. But my feeling, like nothing that he did was like, oh, that's a bit forward. But my feeling is just to sit just back on it a little bit, just for support, Yeah. I'm not the star. I'm not the guy, that's going to be fucking. I just want to support the drummer. Okay. So that's how I feel it. So the way that you're hearing it is the way that I'm feeling it.
You're feeling it, okay. So how did you approach the Billy Thorpe gig then?
With the earplugs?
Yeah. apart from
Earmuffs.
that. So is it because that's more of a,
Billy Thorpe.
That's Billy. He's, the drummer and the bass player are going to follow Billy. I saw it. Yeah.
There's his photo there. That's his last. That's the last weekend down in Melbourne that we did before he had his heart attack and passed away.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, look, Billy Thorpe is just a giant, like in the Australian music scene. I mean, what a icon, really.
Yeah,
when the one thing I loved about Billy, I mean, he went to America, he did it all, right? Like every gig we did was like, it was showtime, man. It was just, and the other thing I'll never forget was we all had our little solo, when he did his own shows. He would introduce everybody in the band, everybody. It didn't matter if it was me, you, Joe Bloggs, the neighbour, whatever. He would always, when he's talking to the crowd about you, he would just go, this guy is the best, right?
Make you feel like you're the most important person in the room. Yeah. That's cool.
And he'd do that because the people that paid their money to come and see, right, they don't want to, he just was saying, you've paid your money, these are the best guys, right?
Yeah.
Even if we weren't. But he just did that with everybody he played with. So when you were on stage with Billy, you felt privileged because he gave you that respect, And that's one thing I'll take away from Billy. He was just, and he just loved it. He was so into it. He would, we'd rehearse, and, the last record, Tangier, if you have a listen to that record, me and Jackie Ozarski are playing bass on that. Like Jackie, you can tell Jackie because Jackie's got that, his beautiful grooves, and I'm sort of that sort of laid back guy, longer notes, sort of a bit more slidey style, But some of the stuff on that record is like there was 7, 8 stuff. There was out of time stuff. He got into a bit of that Eastern kind of Zeppelin-y kind of thing, right? And we used to go to which used to be Sun Studios. He had a studio in the city. And we used to play the same fucking song 2 or 3 hours. But he was just into it, you know. Maybe we can change it a bit. Like he's fine. His attention to detail was wonderful, you know. He was just so that's my thing. I take away from Billy. He was just, you know, he loved it. Look, he's got a smile on his face. He's just loving it. Yeah. You know.
How long have you been playing with him?
Well, I started playing with him when Andy Sachon went to America. So so 2001, I think it was. And the other thing was I was with Billy Thorpe touring with him when INXS had called and said we need a bass player next week in, you know, starting a tour in America.
Oh,
right?
so that was that time.
It was, and I was like, you know, obviously I wanted to go, and they're going to Europe, you know. So I said to Billy, because he had a tour, and we were in the middle of the tour, and I said, Billy, look, I've been offered, because, you know, generally being a hired gun, you get booked for stuff, and then if you can't cancel, it's a bad vibe. Right?
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Because
I don't understand because I've been hired gun, but so I know what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. But Billy, so I was nervous, you know, because I wanted to do this tour. It was like, you know, 2 or 3 months, European thing. I go to England to see my sister, go to Italy to see my family. Great opportunity. I said to Billy, look, I said, I've got this opportunity. I've been asked to go on tour. And, you know, he said, you should go and do it. That'll be great for you. Don't worry, I'll get someone to do it. Like, go and do it. Unreal, fantastic, good on you, you know? Like, and I just thought, what a cool thing to say. Anyway, so that's the thing I take away with Billy. He was just a giant legend, you know.
Was there sort of any lead up? I mean, because he had that massive heart attack. Was there any sort of lead up? It was just a complete shock. Nothing.
There was no indication that he wasn't well.
Right.
You know, there were some things going on that he just didn't talk about or just ignored. I think he didn't really follow things up.
Yep.
I'm not really sure, but it was a real shock to everybody because, you know, he was one of those guys that was just full of life, you know, and then he's not there. It was a real shock, It was awful.
So another video I saw on your YouTube, it was a gig at Selena's.
Oh.
And you're playing with Eric Singer. So
yeah, and Bruce Cruelly.
Yeah. So how did that come about? For people that don't know who Eric Singer is, he's the drummer for Kiss for a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, I was on the road with Jeter Jeffries.
Right.
Actually. And I remember there was a guy, a front of house guy, who was a huge Kiss fan. And we were talking about Kiss on this tour. And we'd often talk about Kiss because I was a big Kiss fan too, you know, Gene Simmons and all the rest of it. And I got this phone call. We were around this pool, like at a motel in some town, some country town. And I get this phone call from this guy. And he's like, hi, Dario, my name's blah, blah, blah. You know, I've got Eric Singer and Bruce Cruelly coming out from Kiss and they need a bass player. And I'm like, I thought it was this guy. And I said, fuck off. Like, you know, like I thought it was this guy playing a prank on me.
Right.
And the guy goes, what are you talking about? It's like it was a promoter from Melbourne. And that's how that came about. It was just a phone call. They needed a bass player in Sydney. They were playing with Kiss, and then I think Kiss reformed. So they were out of a gig. So they came to Australia and did a bit of a, you know, guitar kind of drum clinic kind of thing. I think it was kind of like that.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. And then they just played, I don't know, for an hour, half an hour, 40 minutes or something. It was just covers.
Yeah.
And they just sent the covers. And I knew most of them anyway, Hendrix stuff or whatever it was some Kiss songs. And then went to sound check and we just ran over some things, some Zeppelin, and that was it. That's what we did. But they went to Melbourne and they did some other towns as well. They went to Adelaide, I think. They sort of did a run. And I think, from memory, I think Sydney was the first one, and they sort of said, oh, you know, why don't you come to whatever? But I think I was on the run with someone else and couldn't do it. So they picked up a bass player from each city, I think, to do it. And that's how they did it. It was just covers.
Right.
But they were cool. Eric Singer's he's got that LA thing, like it's a big kind of power drummer. He's got that thing. And Bruce Kulick was cool too, I didn't really hang out with them much. We just sort of got at the gig, hi, blah, 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 had a bit of a chat. They asked me, I remember them saying, what are you doing, I said, I'm playing with Gina Jeffries, or what's that act? Because I had long hair, like down to my ass, like it was. And I said, I'm playing in this country band. And they were like, what are you playing in country? Like, you're playing in a country band? Like, it just didn't look right? Because I looked like a rock pig, I suppose.
Right.
As you would say.
I'm not going to let that down, am I?
So they were like, they couldn't, they were so, that's a bit weird. But anyway, I was doing country,
Yeah.
So that's how that came about.
Well, Timothy B. Schmidt's got long hair all the way down his back, hasn't he? So,
yeah. I don't know. They thought that was a bit odd that I was playing country music.
Yeah, okay. Now, you were part of the Neville's, which was a house band for Footy Show.
Yeah.
When I first
Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, I did, yeah. When I first came to Australia, which was 1994, 1995 was the first year of the Warriors. Warriors into the comp, and that was pretty massive for us.
Right.
Summer was.
You from Auckland?
No. I'm from an area which about an hour north of Wellington, so bottom of the north. You would have been in Wellington.
Yeah.
But obviously the Warriors, there's only one rugby league, NRL rugby league team in New Zealand, so so we got behind them. So the Footy Show was this. We had nothing like that in New Zealand, obviously.
Oh, right. So it got shown there too, right?
Yeah. So that was it was almost like a religion, really, watching that show on a Thursday night and watch the Nevilles kick it off, and
I did that. I think that was from 97 to 2002. I think I did it.
Right.
When I went and did the INXS tour, that's when they got someone else to do the gig, but. Yeah, that was another thing, it was only one night a week though, Thursday night, so it didn't really interfere too much of playing with other bands,
Was it 100% live, or was it pre-recorded?
No, I think it was live. It
was live, right?
Yeah,
right.
Far out. I'd have to. I think.
Okay, well that answers my question. Then I was going to say to you, what was it like playing live every?
Yeah,
doesn't sound like it bothered you too much.
I'm pretty sure it was live. Yeah. I'd have to check into that. No, it was live. It can be a little bit, especially something like that show, because we got there on the day, and it was like, well, this is the things we've got to play, because we had to play off to ads and then back on for ads.
Right, and then one song at the end type sort of thing.
Yeah, or whoever, we'd back people as well sometimes,
right?
But it was mainly just on and off, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
So it was a bit off the cuff, you had to sort of be aware, but the pressure was on when we had to do a song, if we had to back somebody. Yeah,
right. Did you ever completely fluff it on live TV?
Probably every show, probably. What do you mean, make a mistake? I don't know.
We keep moving forward.
I don't think there was any clamours.
Okay.
We all kind of got through, I don't know. When you're in that position, you just plow on, head down, keep going.
Yeah.
There wasn't any big train wrecks that I can remember. I've got a lot of those shows on video. One day I'll transfer the bits. You got
a lot to do. You got a lot to transfer and bring out.
Do you do transferring? Could you? No,
not. Maybe when I'm a bit older and run out of things to do, and the kids have moved out or something. I might have that time, but
there's a lot of stuff that I would like to have a look at, but that was a Footy Show. Yeah, that was a good time. There was so many funny things on that show. Jeez.
Oh yeah, like it was kind of the skits that those guys were doing were just hilarious. And just Fatty's head wobble, and just like you see that shit these days. And
what about when he was there next to that that board and they let that bomb off, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was fair income. It was
income,
like you couldn't do stuff like that
you go
nowadays.
deaf. No,
You wouldn't be allowed to do it. Yeah,
no, you wouldn't be allowed to do it. No,
it was just, and we didn't know that was going to happen. There was just things like that happened. It was just like, what the hell's that?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I was going to. Well, we talked a little bit about it before we hit record. But I'm interested in your technique, the way that you play. You play with your bass very, very low, almost like you've got your right arm completely straight. And we were talking earlier about, you know, little changes, and you say that you play with a jazz neck, and if you were playing with your 5-string, and it would give you problems with your arms and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I find that stuff interesting, especially as I'm getting older too. I'm starting to feel that. I was telling you, I just bought this Taylor GS Mini acoustic guitar, and I was talking to a mate. He's got the exact same guitar, and he was telling me that, you know, he likes to. It's got quite a thin neck on it. It's obviously a shorter scale guitar, and he plays with his thumb like over the neck, so he can use his thumb on the E string,
right?
Instead of a bar chord type sort of thing. And I'm saying to him, well, I can't play like being a drummer. Most of the time my wrists are fairly straight, apart from that sort of up and down movement, not side to side. And I find if I try and wrap my thumb over, straight away I feel the tension in my forearm and into my shoulder. So, you know, a lot of bass players sort of have a more relaxed, or what would seem like a relaxed sort of feel of the guitar, sort of up closer to their stomach, and they can bend their elbows and stuff like that. But, you know, like I said, you've got that straight arm thing. How have you noticed? Have you noticed any sort of wear and tear on your shoulders, or
because it's so low?
Yeah.
No, I've just been playing like that for many years.
Yep.
I feel comfortable playing like I feel comfortable playing like that in a live situation, depending on what gig it is too. Like,
right.
It's not so much my right hand; it's more so my left hand. If I had to change styles or play something a bit more intricate, it can be a little bit difficult on your left hand.
Okay. Is that because of the angle of the neck?
Yeah, because I think it's sort of, you want it sort of closer to, further up, I guess, and closer to your body, I would say. But for me, when I play and it's that low, like, you know how I was talking about a feeling, like, you know, a feeling of playing that. I feel good playing like that. It sort of it allows me to be myself.
Right.
Like, if it would change, if I lifted it up or brought the bass higher, it would change the way I played the instruments, and it would sound different. So
yeah, okay.
I'm just used to it.
Gotcha.
Playing that way, yeah.
When you record, then,
yeah, well, see, this
do you
is
stand
the thing.
up?
This is the thing. Eddie Van Halen was interviewed once, and he was asked the same question: when you record, do you sit down or do you stand up? And his answer was, if I was sitting down when I was recording, you'd be able to tell I was sitting down. Right. So, but that's not for me.
Okay.
I actually sit down.
You sit down. Okay.
I sit down because what happens is when I'm playing like that with the bass, with the instrument low, like I'm kind of attacking the string, and live, because there's volume, and it's like it can get a bit clicky at times. Like you can get a bit fretty, and it can be a bit buzzy
because you're almost
because of the right hand. It's so low, and it's kind of
that Harry Bruce thing.
Yeah, it's hitting at an angle where
right.
You can get a bit of percussive sound out of the string, out of the instrument, right? Which is, in a live situation, I don't mind that so much.
Gotcha.
But when I'm recording at home, like at times I'll get into it, but I feel like I can have more control if I'm sitting down and I'm over it more. I just don't feel comfortable doing that live, you know?
Right, I understand.
Yeah, so I always record sitting down in a studio.
Right, gotcha. How has your amplification changed over the years? Are you a sort of a tube amp sort of guy?
Do you know what?
Do you have big bass, like a big cabinet and a heavy head?
Yeah, look, I mean, I know there's guys out there, like when I'm touring with the Baby Animals, doing festivals and stuff, my go-to amp, and it's only because they're common and I've used them for a long, like a lot of years, and that's like Ampeg amps and an 8x10, because I know what they sound like. I'm used to them, and I just know how to get a decent sound out of them.
Gotcha.
But there is no way in hell that I would use an Ampeg amp to do the same amp to do a gig here in Sydney, because it's
the old boat shed getting.
Forget it. So look, for me to do a gig, I'm not a purist in that way. Like, you know, the reason being is because I'm not recording an album, and there's a DI box which gets a signal direct from your bass that goes primarily out to the front of house guy, and that's on the bigger gigs. They have a mic on the amp as well, but if it's not a big gig, often they won't even have a mic on the amp, so it's just out of your bass.
Right. So
what's, like, you know, I'd love to have an Ampeg sound every time I play, but it's just not convenient. So for me, the convenient thing is to have something small and light. That's what I use. I use the lightest bass boxes I could find.
Yep.
And it's a GR box, and it's an Italian brand.
Mm-hmm.
They're expensive, cost me a shitload of money, but I went there. I A-beat it with my Fender cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And just cranked it, and this GR thing was, you know, it's 12 kilos for a 4x10. It's made out of carbon fiber, and it just sounded amazing. And just when I cranked the amp up, put the octaver on, it didn't fart. It was just, and I thought, I just bought it there and then. So that's it. Bought it. And it's light. You can pick it up and throw it anywhere you like. You know, like it's not that durable. You got to be careful because you carbon fiber. It's not like wood, but it's just much. I'm getting old now. I need something light. I'm not going to be carting heavy stuff around. So yeah, and maybe that's, maybe bass players out there are getting a rash listening to me say that. But
yeah, I don't know.
But that's just my thing. Like there's a DI. Is it going to, as long as the DI sounds good and the instrument sounds good coming from your fingers, I'm using the amp as a monitor. Essentially.
What about recording then?
With Barry's record, we did. Yeah, because, depending on who's producing it, Kerry wanted an amp.
He wanted a sound,
You want an amp. And, the way that we did that record, he wanted it to sound, it sounds organic because we are all in there playing together. So, he wanted an amp. Had to be ISO. There's a lot of trouble, but he wanted an amp to give that feeling of playing live. We're all playing live together. Yeah. That's how that album was recorded.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like that too.
Does, yeah.
Obviously, like I played on Harry Vander's latest single that he did last year, and I used an amp 8x10 because it's like same thing, old school. We need it to. So, but unless it's required, unless they say bring an amp in, I'll just DI because it's more convenient. You can put simulators on. I've got this Fender, the last single that I did with the Baby Animals, which is Ace of Spades. I used the DI. It went straight through the LA2A, through the Leef thing.
Yep.
Through the Leef preamp into the LA2A. One side, which is DI, and the other side, I just used the amp simulator with this Fender
Tone Master,
yeah. And it sounds great. And just, you blend the two in. So with these sort of things nowadays, you can get it pretty close,
And you can add patches to this?
Absolutely.
You can upload patches into it?
Yeah. They've got updates all the time. It's got pedals. There's pedals that it's a really handy tool.
Is that specifically for bass, or that's just you can put guitar sims in there as well?
It's probably more skewed for guitar players because there's more amps and stuff. There's more guitar amps and it's more for guitar players, but they have a bass thing in there. They're getting more and more bass stuff, bass pedals, bass amps. There's an Ampeg simulator, but not as many as the guitars.
Right.
But it's pretty handy, man. Like it's cool.
Yep.
Chris Camzelas got me onto those. And I've got to thank Heath from Fender. He's been so good, like with it helping out and just, So, Fender's been great to me over the years.
That's great.
I have to give them a huge plug. I mean, look, all my guitars are Fenders.
Yeah, both my I've got a Fender fretless, jazz fretless, and a Highway One. Fender Highway One bass, which I bought, jazz bass. When did I buy that? 2006, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah, they're my two basses.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. So you played in Steel City, which is a Dean Perry.
Oh yeah.
Tap Dogs thing with Joe Accaria. So how did that come about? And
the way that came about was at the same studio that Billy Thorpe ended up owning. It used to be called Sun Studios, and I was working with a friend of mine called Huey Benjamin. I don't know if you know Huey.
No.
Anyway, his son, Eddie Benjamin's, he's written with Bieber.
Right.
He's worked with Justin Bieber. He's a producer. Anyway,
okay.
Huey Benjamin was had a room there on the same level, the Sun Studios, and Tim Finn was there with Joe Accaria, and they needed a bass player. And I knew Huey from being in a band with him, and he just said, call this Dario guy up. So they called me, and I just went there. Joe was playing drums, and he just threw ideas at me. Just play this, play that, because he just wrote the music for the tap dancing thing, and there was no singing. It was just music, and so I just picked up, because I was pretty good at that, picking up just, and some of it was a bit odd timing or whatever. And Joe was all over it.
Yep.
And he goes, right, you got the gig. So that's it. It was just an audition, and it was like that. Yeah. They just threw. There's nothing prepared. Nothing. Learn these songs. Was just come in, bring your amp, and play, and that's what happened. And I got the gig like that.
Playing with a whole bunch of tap dancers.
Yeah, that was. Have you seen the footage?
I have. Yeah, yeah. So how does that affect you in the way that you play? Is it easy to be distracted by the?
Oh no,
because I'm sure Joe's pretty. I know Joe would be.
Joe was all over it. That stuff. It was a little bit challenging for me because in one spot of the show there was like eight to 10 dancers, and there's footage of it at Radio City in New York because that's where we played. We played there, and they had the band was on this move on this platform which would go up. It was kind of like a Kiss concert, right?
Yeah.
We'd jump on it, would rise up, and we'd be 20 feet above the floor playing for the show, most of the show. This particular part of the show, there was 12 dancers, tap dancers, guys in orange outfits, and just me playing with them, right? And they would, and I'm playing this riff that Tim had written. It was a riff basically, which I kind of did my own thing a little bit, played some chords, whatever. And they would tap to it, but then they tap on the offbeat, right? So it was like you had to keep tapping because there was a couple of times, we probably did the show maybe 50 times, maybe more, but there was a couple of times where I fucked it up because I wasn't paying attention, and I was like, I went on the offbeat, and then I got 10 dancers looking at me, like, where are you going? The wheels can fall off. Yeah. So, I had to. When the band was playing, it was okay because but when I was doing my solo thing with just me and them, you had to pay attention, because they were dancing and then hitting off beats, and the thing was in 5/4. I don't think it was 4/4. I think it was in 5/4, and it would change. So I had to, and they had all their routines. So if I fucked up, it was the whole thing would fall over. So, that was, you had to pay attention.
Yeah.
No big nights before the gig.
No. You spent a bit of time playing with Jimmy Barnes?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what sort of era was that, and how did that come up?
Yeah, so when I came back from the INXS thing in 2003, I just had a call out of the blue. I was here, I still remember, in the lounge room, because I actually came back to do a tour, I was in Europe, and I'd been booked to do the Long Way to the Top tour with Billy Thorpe.
Yep.
Because they did one, and then they did the second one, and they were going to have 2 house bands, and I was in the second house band. They already had a house band. And I came back for that, had booked the flights to come back. And then when I got home, they'd said, ticket sales or whatever. Anyway, it's not happening. We'll pay you a cancellation fee of a week's wages or whatever. It was like a 2-month tour. So I was like, oh, shit. I could have stayed in Europe, really, with my family. But
right.
anyway, I came back. And then a couple of weeks later, I get this phone call. And it's like, hello? And the guy was like, hey, it's Jimmy Barnes here. You know, and I'm like, what? Like, and he goes, I need a bass player. Yeah. He said, he got my number for, well, just word of mouth. You know, I was playing with Billy. And then he just said, can you come to the house? And I said, yeah. So he lived in Vaucluse. So I just drove there, picked up tapes, met him and Jane, and it was all really cool. You know, part of the thing about being able to play with different people and making a career out of music, I feel, and this is what I say to young kids, is like, you know, people want to hang out with people that are, you don't want to be an arsehole or a dickhead or a wanker, or, you know, you want to be kind of natural and not, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but you have to be, there's a certain type of personality, right? You go to meet Jimmy Barnes, you know, you got to be cool.
Yeah.
And so part of it was that, and I went there and met him and Jane, and it was like, oh, he's Italian, you know, like, just got back, and it was great, you know. And Jimmy was, look, I've got to say, Jimmy's always been great. I loved working with Jimmy, you know, like, he just got up there and he sang K-Sang, he sings K-Sang. And how long has he been singing that song for?
Yeah.
Like, every night, the same, he sings, like, he just delivers it like it's the first time he's singing it, you know. Never did I hear him say, okay, do we have, you know, because other people might, let's do a different version of it. Let's change the groove. He just does it how it is. And because that's how people want to hear it.
That's it.
Yeah. So got the call, went over there, went and played, had an audition the following week, just ahead a week of rehearsals. After the first day, he said, great, you know, let's do it. And then the next day he said, I went to rehearse and he said, I've got another, you know, how do you feel about learning the soul set? Because he had a gig in Bangkok, because Michael Hegarty was the bass player, but he couldn't do it. And I think he was going to America or he was doing something. So that's why they needed somebody. And I said, I'll learn the soul set. So I learned the soul set. Not really my bag, right? It's not really my thing, but I did what I had to do. And we went to Bangkok and did a gig there. And then we went to New Zealand. That was my first tour with Jimmy in 2003.
And who was playing drums at that stage?
Playing drums at the time was a guy called Alex Karapides. He was a young guy from Adelaide.
Right.
He's actually living in LA now. He ended up playing with 9 Inch Nails and a few other people.
Right.
Like, he had a short period there, but he's got his original band. I don't know what they're called, but so he was the drummer. But he had a few drummers while I was there the whole time. I mean, in the end, he had Warren Trout and Jackie Barnes. Like, I was there with Jackie. But but they also had, I played with Yak Sherritt in the band as well, you know. Yeah, there was a few guys.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, I mean, I love playing with Jimmy. It's like royalty again, you know. It's same as Billy Thorpe, just one of those guys that's DNA, Australian DNA music, you know.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I interviewed Ben Rogers a while back, and he gave me the address of this place, and I rocked up there, big gate, walk in there.
Is that a botany?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time. And I walked in through the doors and Jimmy and Jane standing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Kitchen's on the left there.
Kitchen's on the left. Hello, I'm Stevie. And they said hello, and off we went. We walked through that sort of hallway thing, and there was gear everywhere. Guitar cases open, guitars, basses. What's going on here? So anyway, we go into the control room of the studio there.
Yep.
And then before we hit record, Ben goes, I'm just doing some demos with Cold Chisel. So it was all the Chisel gear on the grid.
Yeah, right. Know? Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. I've told that story many times. But it was cool, man. What a complex that is.
Yeah.
Now, after Jimmy, then you joined Baby Animals.
Mm.
So how did the Baby Animals...
Well, I kind of did the Baby Animals while I was with Jimmy there for a while.
Right.
It was kind of...
Bit of a cross.
And then it was, you know, again, one of those things where I was playing with Jimmy, and then Jimmy wasn't working that much at the time, and so I ended up playing with the Baby Animals and then recording their album. And then, Jimmy pulls up a gig and I was like, fuck, I'm in the middle of this tour,
Yeah.
with the Baby Animals. And then that kind of, Jimmy goes, that's how I lost the Jimmy gig, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been back to it at all?
I have done some gigs.
Stuff.
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
I did one just recently on the boat on the cruise because Michael Hegarty's. I think he's like injured his shoulder or something. Couldn't
Oh, yeah. Okay. I've been wondering why he's hasn't been around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I must reach out to him, but I think he's going to be all right. But anyway, we're doing this Rock the Boat last year in 2025, and the morning, because I was on there with the Baby Animals and with the Rocking Birds, and I'm getting ready to go, and I get a call from Mahalia, and I'm thinking, like, Mahalia doesn't usually call me.
Yeah.
For 10 years, she hasn't called. What's going on here? Anyway, she just said, are you on the boat? I said, yeah. She goes, you might have to play with Dad.
Okay.
I was like, and that's how, so that was in October.
Yeah. And
that was so we didn't really have, we didn't have a rehearsal. I just sort of went over the stuff in my room because I was playing with the Angels as well. And Steve Balby and a few other people, so I was busy on the boat. I mean, it's always
sounds like an amazing time. Every time I see the videos come up of that those
I love
cruises,
playing on the
so
boat.
Cool,
it's a lot of fucking work though. It's like
okay, right.
It's not playtime really.
It's not relax.
It's just I mean, it's just because you want to do a good job, and that's the thing. If you're going to play with people, you want to make sure you do a good job. So and just
Now, Rose Tattoo, you've done a little bit with Rose Tattoo.
Yeah. Well, that came about. How did that come about? It came about by accident a little bit, but I did some gigs. Look, Paul DeMarco, the drummer in Rasu, one of the fucking best drummers around. Really, like just what a freak. And I tell you, when I was playing with Billy Thorpe, with Paul DeMarco, he taught me a lot. Like one of the things about Billy Thorpe was he would play stuff like, CC Rider, stuff bluesy stuff, heavy, fast, bluesy stuff. And then he'd play Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right?
Yeah.
And fucking DeMarco's like, and then he'd fucking pull out his brushes, right?
Right.
And then he'd say to me, this is Paul, right? Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. He'd say, listen, I'm doing this role, like, follow me when we do this. So he would just talk to me all the time. And this is one thing about bass player drummers, like I learnt from Paul, really. It's like you got to talk to each other, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you said before, like, ask me about drummers. Like, my job is to support the drummer, right? But if I can't talk to the drummer or if he can't talk to me, like, particularly when you're doing original stuff, and it's not just a covers thing. Covers thing, you just play it, you do it, and you go. But the Billy Thorpe thing was special for me because I was playing with Paul, obviously with Billy, but also with Paul DeMarco because we were communicating, and I get where he was coming from, and he's a big character, big personality, but he can go from being that power guy to just the gentlest, like. Drummer. It's incredible, like, what he does. So Rose Tattoo they needed a bass player, and I think Paul was like, because we love playing together, like, it's just, it's I love playing with Paul, and I think he feels the same. So I think it came from that. They needed a bass player. I did a run with them in Queensland. I played somewhere. There was a function at Horden Pavilion that I did with them. So that's how that came about. It was basically through Paul DeMarco. But then he wasn't around anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was playing with Angry. Angry was doing the Angry Anderson band. And we were doing that. And then out of the blue, Angry goes, Germany has called us, like, they would, we can go over there to play a festival over there. And I'm thinking, I'll go see my family,
Yeah.
My sister lives in London, right?
Of course, yeah.
I'll just, And he said to the band, what do you think? And I was like, yeah, let's fucking go. One gig. It was one gig. It was Bang Your Head Festival, right?
Right.
But I just said, yeah, let's go. As it so happened, like, when I was there, well, Ken Hensley from Uriah Heep was working with a guy called Guy Delandro, which is a dear friend of mine who's a songwriter. He was recording an album in Spain, and I couldn't. He asked me to go to Spain to record this album. Ken Hensley, he's a keyboards player from Uriah Heep, right in the studio. He was producing it, and I was like, I can't because the Baby Animals were on the road. And then it just so happened that so they were over there. It's happened that the Tats thing came up like the week after the Baby Animals. It's like, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. So everybody said, yeah, let's go. So we went over there. After that, we did the Bang Your Head Festival. I flew to Spain to do, I missed the first half of the record, but Ken Hensley, the producer, said, because we did some demos here, I'd worked with him, so I met him,
Right.
And he said, I'll do half of the record, like with the session guys over there, and then the second half, I'll get you in when you're there, and we'll just split the album in two. So that's what happened. So we went to Germany and played with the Tats. Peter Heckenberg was on drums, and then went to Spain. Did the Europe thing, came back, and then Guns N' Roses came out, and they often use Rose Tattoo to do the support.
Right.
But there was no real Rose Tattoo. It was the Anger Anderson band.
Right.
So it was kind of that. And it was, I haven't really got Rose Tattoo together, but I'll use this band again.
Yeah.
So we were Rose Tattoo. So that's how that came about. And I think there was a few other gigs. I also went to America with Rose Tattoo in 2024, was it?
Right.
We did one of those cruises out of Miami, and I went over there. They needed, because Mark Evans was doing something in Europe, he couldn't do it, so I just filled in again. Right. I was a fill-in guy.
Yeah, right.
So that was fantastic. We hung out in LA afterwards. It was the best.
That's cool. So you mentioned that Rose Tattoo did the support for Guns N' Roses. So there's so many stories about. So you know what I'm going to ask? Were they really as bad and unprofessional and late as everyone says?
I mean,
or did they get the shit together by then?
I think that what you're referring to was them earlier than this period.
Okay.
The only thing I did see was the band were cool. Duff McKagan was great. He was nice. He looks well. Like he had that. I read his book. It's fantastic.
Yeah, he was pretty messed up.
And I was looking at the photos yesterday with Slash. Slash, they were all fine. They come and said hello. They made a point to come and say hello to Rose Tattoo because it was Rose Tattoo. Angry, really.
Right,
we were just the guys playing in Rose Tattoo. But the one thing I did see was you didn't see Axl at all.
Yeah,
he would come in a Tarago or in a van that would pull up backstage.
Yep.
He'd jump out. They jump on stage. He'd come off stage in the thing and fuck off.
Yep.
The band would walk back in the dressing room, completely separate. Like he wasn't hanging with the band at all. Come in on stage and then out. That's it.
It's a bit like the Eagles. Eagles were like that.
Were they? Right.
Oh, yeah, they sort of rock in and they're,
individually.
There's an individual tour bus each lining up and, crazy, man. But, when it's such a massive financial thing, people want to get paid. So they do what they can to make sure everyone gets paid. And if Axl wants to do that, maybe it was the other guys. Maybe the other guys said, well, we don't want to spend time with them.
Yeah, it's weird, eh? It's like when I don't know.
But you get it.
Yeah, I mean, that there's some history there, I'm sure.
For sure,
especially reading his book, Duff's book. Yeah, full on, man.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a bit of history. Maybe that's how they operate best.
Yeah, that's it.
Being
how they
separated,
operate. That's it.
Not getting. I mean, because they're obviously not doing it because they enjoy each other's company. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
like
they do.
It's the money thing. But... Yeah, for sure. They're still selling out, aren't they?
Absolutely,
selling out
because people want to see it, right?
That's
so
it.
They're supplying a product. However you can package it, people will buy it. You know, so they get separate vans. That's how they package it.
Yeah, that's it.
One thing that occurred to me that it was never really a money thing for me, right? I just wanted to I just enjoyed playing with the people I was playing with, writing, whatever. But it really is a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. And when we talk about that, it is a business. And so it became apparent to me 15, 20 years ago, you know, with various artists, it's a business, man.
It's a business, yeah.
And like, okay, there's lots of ego. There's lots of, you know, people have, you know, these personality traits that goes with being a musician where, you know, you have to be a performer and all that. But it's a business, man. And so it did, 15, 20 years ago, that sort of was obvious to me. Sure, we do what we love, but it's also a business.
It's a business,
you know?
yeah.
It makes money. If it doesn't make money, no one's interested.
Yeah, that's it.
Really.
That's
you
it.
know? And we're blessed in this country because, you know, in the 70s, when I grew up, there was this whole, even the 60s, you know, there was this whole thing, music, you know, like there's bands playing at pubs 4 or 5 nights a week that you could go and see.
Yep.
And people used to do, that was what they did as part of their lifestyle. They would go and see bands.
Yep.
So those people are still doing that. They're still, like, I see them at gigs, you know, like 50, 60, 70 even, you know, like from Thorpe gigs. They go and because that's what they did when they were younger.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think in 50 or 60 years' time that the people that are 20 or 30 are going to be doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Different era.
Yeah, it is. All right, Dario, appreciate it, man. Long time coming, and
Far
I'm
out.
glad we've done it. It's so good. Take it easy, man. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.